My name is Eleanor. Eleanor Marsh. I'm 69 years old, and I'm sitting in the same chair I've sat in for the last 30 years. The house is quiet right now. It's the kind of quiet that used to make me uncomfortable. These days, I've made a kind of peace with it. I don't know exactly why I'm recording this. I've started it 3 times already and deleted it. Maybe I just need somewhere to put this, somewhere outside of me. So, here it is. There's something I didn't understand for most of my life. And I don't say that lightly, because I was not an unaware person. I read, I paid attention, I thought about things. I had conversations with people I respected, and I asked questions, and I genuinely believed, that I was present in my own life. But there was this feeling. It started sometime in my late 30s, maybe earlier if I'm honest. This low, persistent feeling that I was waiting. Not waiting for something specific. Not a promotion. Not a relationship. Just waiting. Like the real part hadn't started yet. Like I was still in the hallway before the room. I lived like that for a long time. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. My father worked at a plant that made machine parts for things none of us knew the names of. My mother kept the house and kept us fed, and kept us fed, and kept her feelings mostly to herself, which was just the way things were done. Then, we weren't unhappy. I want to be clear about that. There was love in that house. But it was the kind of love that existed between people without being said very often. You knew it was there the way you know a river is nearby without seeing it. I left for college at 18, and I remember standing on the platform waiting for the bus, and my father shook my hand. My mother touched my face once, quickly, and then stepped back. And I remember thinking, I'll come back when things are more settled, when I have something to show, when I'm more of what I'm supposed to become. I came back for holidays, for a few years, and then less, and then my father got sick, and I came back for that, and then he was gone. And I never once felt like the time was right to just be there. To just sit in that kitchen without a reason. I was always waiting until I was ready. I got married at 26 to a man named Robert. Robert Marsh. He was quiet and steady, and he laughed at things most people missed, small things, an odd word in a news headline, a pigeon doing something undignified. I loved that about him. We had a good marriage. We had our silences and our friction like everyone does. We had 2 children, a son named Daniel, and a daughter named Claire, and I remember, when the children were young, thinking, this is full, this is real, but I kept waiting to feel settled into it, like I was watching my own life through glass. I'd be at the dinner table, and Daniel would be saying something about school, something funny, and I'd be half present and half somewhere else, waiting for the thing that would make me feel completely arrived. Robert used to say, "You're not all the way here, Ellie." He didn't say it unkindly. He said it the way you'd mention that someone left the light on. I'd say, "I know, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking," and he'd nod and go back to his dinner. I built a career in academic publishing, 31 years. I was good at it. I was respected. I moved through my professional life with a kind of competence that I was quietly proud of. But even there, even in the work that I was genuinely suited for, there was this sense that I was marking time until I became the person I was meant to be. Until I arrived at the version of the life that felt complete, I'd finish one thing and think, after this project, after this year, after the children are older, after Robert retires, after we move somewhere smaller, after. I was always standing just outside the door. Robert died 7 years ago. He went quickly, which people told me was a mercy, and maybe it was, but quickly also means without warning, without the conversations I thought we'd have eventually, without the trip we kept talking about taking, without the morning where I finally put the phone down and just looked at him the way he deserved to be looked at. I keep thinking about an ordinary Tuesday, maybe 6 months before he got sick. We were having coffee and he was reading something and the light was coming through the kitchen window at that particular angle it gets in October, and I was thinking about a deadline, something at work, and he looked up and smiled at me, just briefly, and I smiled back and looked back at my laptop. That's it. That's the whole memory, but I've thought about it more than almost anything else in my life since he died, because what I understand now is that was it. That was the thing I was waiting for. That kitchen, that light, that man looking up from his reading, and I was somewhere else. I don't say this to grieve publicly. I've done my grieving. I'm still doing it, in the way that doesn't ever fully stop, but I've done the loud part of it. I say it because it took me until I was somewhere around 62, 63, sitting alone in a house that still smelled like him in certain rooms, to understand something I couldn't have been told. I had been waiting my whole life for my life to begin, and it had been happening the whole time, not in some small consolation prize way. Not the journey is the destination. I've never liked that phrase, it always felt like something printed on a coffee mug. I mean literally, the actual texture of my actual days, the specific weight of my specific life, that watch, that was the whole thing. And I had spent the majority of it waiting for it to arrive. My daughter Claire called me last spring. She was telling me about something, a problem at her job, a tension with a colleague, and I could hear it in her voice, that particular half-presence, that quality of someone who is living their life from just slightly outside it. I didn't say anything. What would I say? I just listened, and I thought, she'll find her way through it, or she won't. But either way, the life is happening right now on the phone, in her kitchen while she talks to her mother, and she doesn't know that yet. Maybe she'll know it sooner than I did. Maybe she'll know it sooner than I did. I hope so. There's a particular quality to the light in October. I notice it every year now, and every year it does the same thing to me. I sit in this chair and the light comes through the window, and I don't think about anything I should be doing. I don't think about what comes next, or what I haven't finished. I just sit in it. It took me 60 years to learn how to do that. I'm not sure whether that's a tragedy, or just the way it goes. Maybe both. My son Daniel asked me recently if I had regrets. He meant it as a kind question. He wanted me to say no. I told him the truth, which is that I don't have regrets. The way people mean when they use that word, like there are specific decisions I'd change, specific roads I should have taken. It's not like that. It's more like there was a whole atmosphere I lived inside without knowing it was there, this low-grade waiting, this posture of not quite yet, and now there isn't as much time ahead of me as there is behind me, and I understand that the waiting was the loss. Not what I was waiting for. The waiting itself was the thing I lost. I want to be careful here, because I don't want this to sound like a lesson. It isn't one. I didn't sit down to teach anyone anything. I'm not sure I even believe that things like this can be taught. I think they have to arrive through the specific weight of your specific years, and they arrive when they arrive, and not sooner. I just wanted to say it out loud, that I spent a very long time living just outside of my own life, and that the life was full and real and it was happening, all of it, the whole time. Robert's coffee cup still sits on the shelf where he always left it. I haven't moved it. I don't plan to. Not because I'm stuck. Because I like that it's there. Because it was real. It was completely, entirely real. And somewhere along the way, I stopped waiting long enough to let myself know that. It's getting late. The light has shifted the way it does in the late afternoon here, and the room is going quieter. I don't have anything to add to this. I don't have a way to wrap it neatly. I'm 69 years old and I'm sitting in my chair, and the house is quiet, and for right now that's enough. It's more than enough, actually. It just took me a while to find out.